Good Wednesday morning, Grenada, Carriacou, PT, Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, the rest of you joining us across the world. A good Wednesday morning to each and every one of you on this, the 14th day of the 4th month, 2021. Thank you so much for joining us on Good Morning Grenada. Always a pleasure to have you. Thank you to those of you joining us on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11, and 20. Good morning, of course, to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9, and to all the folks joining us on the Party Grenada and Go to Fet Facebook pages. Thank you. Bless up your whole selves on this wonderful Wednesday. To the folks joining us across the Caribbean, whichever part of the region you are, I'm sending special good morning to our brothers and sisters in neighboring island St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Hope it is a better morning that it has been over the past few days. Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with you. Help is on the way. A lot of effort is being held, not just here in Grenada, but across the Caribbean, and we are definitely going to assist as best as we can as we all go through this period. Not just St. Vincent residents feeling it, we're all feeling it. We're all in this together, separated by water, but different islands, one culture, one people. Help is on its way. Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And good morning to all the folks joining us across the rest of the world, whichever part of the world you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hope you will have a good day, are having a good day, have had a good day. Now that covers everybody. I have to hail up St. Vincent special. Well, you know why. That goes without saying. Let's get into it. It's time for this morning's word of the day. Let's see what the word of the day is. This morning's word of the day is fufara. Fufara. It's a noun which means a great fuss or disturbance about something very insignificant. Fufara. Fufara originated on the western frontier of the U.S. in the mid-19th century. Initially, it was spelled F-O-F-A-R-R-A-W and used as an adjective which means gaudy or tawdry. It first appears in print in June 1848 in a series of articles for Blackwood's magazine by George Ruxton, an English explorer and travel writer who wrote about the Far West. Fufaro, used as a noun meaning gaudy apparel, appears in the same magazine by the same author 2 months later in August 1848. The French dialect from fanfuro may also have contributed to the American word fufara, which is a noun which means a great fuss or disturbance about something very insignificant. That's the word of the day this morning. It's spelled F-O-O-F-A-R-A-W. It's pronounced fufara. It's a noun which means a great fuss or disturbance about something very insignificant. An example of the use of the word: last week, Swedish movie theaters created a media fufara when they announced that they would begin providing a rating based on the test for the films they screen. That's the word of the day this morning. Fufara, F-O-O-F-A-R-A-W, a noun which means a great fuss or disturbance about something very insignificant. Hold on, I'm trying to remember the next word we use. Hullabaloo. Hullabaloo. That's another way of saying hullabaloo. Making a great fuss about something very insignificant. You making sense. That's the short of the story. Fufara. All right, let's see as you go about your wonderful Wednesday, the thought of the day that I want to take you through the next 24 hours at least. Never stop doing your best just because someone doesn't give you credit. Never stop doing your best just because someone doesn't give you credit. Always try your best. Continue doing what you're doing. You don't need anybody else validation. You don't need anybody else telling you good job. Continue doing your best. Sometimes self-affirmation and self-credit goes a long way, and that's all you need to continue pushing. So don't stop being your best just because somebody doesn't give you credit. 9 times out of 10, that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because you want to. You're doing it because it'll make you better. It's doing it because you need to do it to get to where you want to. So never stop doing your best just because someone doesn't give you credit. All right? Keep at it. Keep pushing forward. Let's see what's celebrated today, April 14th, 2021. Today it is Gardening Day. Gardening, hey, my family comes to mind. It is Gardening Day today. It is a day of encouragement, a day created to give gardeners a shove and a shovel so that they can begin their gardening journey. Weather permitting, gardening has always been an enduring task for patient lovers of the great outdoors. A good gardener plans years ahead as they shape the nature that surrounds them according to their vision and needs. So good morning to all our gardeners out there, whether it's fruits and vegetables or the pretty flowers that we see. Good morning to my aunt in Black Bay. Morning, Mimi. They will tell you I call your name again. You can't beat me, Mimi. You cannot. Anne-Marie Alexis, you cannot beat me. Run up on my chest, you can't do it. Love you, Auntie. So it is Gardening Day. Good morning to all the gardeners near and far. Continue doing what you're doing, making your yards beautiful, or making using the spot to provide food for yourself and your family, whatever you garden. Good morning to you. It's Gardening Day. Spend a little extra hour, half an hour in the garden today on Gardening Day, April 14th. All right, just before we go to the break, I got in this morning and somebody asked for, I saw on the WhatsApp somebody asking for the schedule for the vaccinations this week. Vaccination locations across the island this week. The vaccinations at all the locations take place from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And today, Wednesday, and today's Wednesday already? Yes, today's Wednesday. Yes, as I was saying. Today, Wednesday, the vaccination team will be at the National Stadium and at the Radisson Grand Beach Resort. So the vaccination, those of you who are still thinking about it, they are at the National Stadium and the Radisson Beach Resort. Vaccination takes place 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. On a community level, on Friday, God willing, they will be in Munich and Latant. And then on Saturday, the teams will be in La Portree, Tivoli, and Shantimel. So take note of that. Today, Wednesday, they're at the National Stadium and Radisson. On Friday, they're going to communities in Munich and Latant. And on Saturday, they're in La Portree, Tivoli, and Shantimel. So hopefully the person who requested the information on the WhatsApp, hopefully you got the schedule, but feel free to let me know if you want an update, or you can visit the Ministry of Health's social media, their Facebook page, and get the information that you desire. It's now time for us to get ready for the morning edition of news. For those of you on radio and those of you on our visual platforms, we bring you highlights of last evening's newscast. This is Good Morning Grenada on Classic GBN Hot 98. We'll be right back.
Ultratech gasoline and diesel, available only at Rubis stations.
We are taking pride in outstanding performance. We are encouraging and recognizing innovation. We are committed to continuously doing things better, with enhanced services coming soon. Yes, we are here for you. Check us out today for your financial need. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
Do you know what time it is? You guessed right, it's detox time again at Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center and Natural Health Store. Purchase our 7-day cleansing pack for only $500. Includes everything you need for a complete total body cleanse. Cleanse your blood, kidney, liver, and colon. This cleanse will help you lighten up and get rid of the excess. Also available are our special product Detox Combo Pack for only $100. Try our single detox products starting from $40. Check us out now. Belmont St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area, or call us on 231-6642, 449-7753, or 418-7115. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. Detox, your way to health.
No deaths were reported by St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves as he appeared on GBN's Beyond the Headlines program on Monday night. Prime Minister Gonsalves also disclosed that most Vincentians have chosen to remain in their country and not to evacuate to neighboring islands. We get more in this report.
The major consensus by citizens affected by the La Soufrière volcanic eruption is to remain in their country.
People prefer to stay at home. They say they want to stay at home. I've been around several of the camps, and that's the message.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves says most citizens have chosen to stay at home rather than be evacuated to another country.
Ships are there, but today we took the decision that because the numbers are not large, to ask the cruise ships, say thanks, and if persons want to go, we will charter smaller vessels like those from Beckway or from Canawan, which fly between the islands. There are some people who want to go to different countries, but it's not a large number.
Gonsalves has attributed better preparedness and the use of science and technology for the preliminary lack of reports of loss of life due to the numerous eruptions and pyroclastic flows from the La Soufrière volcano. Prime Minister Gonsalves says they were able to evacuate residents to the over 80 shelters opened and to individual homes and hotels.
People have opened their homes to their friends and their families and even to strangers. And that itself creates an additional demand on the government because in addition to treating with the shelters, we will have to provide food packages for persons who are also in people's homes, because you may give someone shelter and you may give them food for a few days, but you're going to need some assistance yourself.
He says their main challenge is an adequate supply of water. The Prime Minister clarifies that the mandatory vaccination for evacuees, which was previously announced, was based on the neighboring country's request and that of the cruise ships, which had volunteered to assist.
Enter the shelter. You don't have to be vaccinated against COVID. That's not true. When you enter the shelter, you enter the shelter, and what we are seeking to do is to, as much as possible, to test you. But those protocols is not compulsory for you to be tested to be in the shelters. Absolutely not.
He says most have now rescinded such requests while settling for evacuees to be tested and quarantined. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
Private individuals are chipping in to volunteer in the crisis, which now afflicts St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Led and sponsored by Shane Brown, who resides in the United States and has relatives both in Grenada and St. Vincent, a lone humanitarian trip is being made by a Grenadian vessel to St. Vincent. GBN caught up with members of the crew on Tuesday.
affected by natural disasters to bring humanitarian aid. A St. Vincent trip is now being prepped by a local vessel captained by Kim Dikoto. GBN spoke to Jumo Dikoto on Tuesday, who explains that the trip is funded by Vincentian businessman Shane Brown.
Inside this chamber, you can see we have dry goods and we have water inside it. So all this goods was funded by the guy who funded the trip, Shane Brown, he's from St. Vincent, but he's a friend of mine and business partner. So I have stuff there for his family, and we have Gonzalve, and over here I have stuff that come from the Governor General, and then I have stuff coming for other people as well. So you see we have other chambers, so we separate it. So when we reach over there, we have no problem with delivering, we know where to find this one stuff, that one stuff.
Dikoto says they are accepting packages from other private individuals who are sending for family or friends in St. Vincent.
Yeah. Once yes, the stuff is marked, and then the family could come and collect it. So you could give them a number and they could contact us, and yeah.
The vessel leaves Grenada on Wednesday morning.
Well, we could be leaving early in the morning, so we could have a day sail into St. Vincent, so we could have a clear view instead of going in the night. Is more risk, so we want to leave early in the morning so we could get there like midday, yeah.
Okay, so that trip will take about 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, it will take us 7 hours.
Dikoto elaborates on the reason why they continue to make these humanitarian trips.
Well, remembering from where we come from, Hurricane Ivan, and we're living in a world now, expect anything and expect anybody to come to you. So that's about it.
I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
Such a great initiative. Local organizations remain committed to providing relief to neighboring St. Vincent after the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano. So much so that one organization is looking to expand its human resources to meet the new demand for water. More in this report.
The unfortunate event in St. Vincent may just provide a new avenue for income for some unemployed locals, as Montpure Natural Mineral Water is seeking additional hands on deck to meet with the new excess in the demand for water on the market due to the total collapse of the water system on the neighboring island. The company is looking to employ an additional shift as it needs the extra manpower. Chief Executive Officer of Montpure Mineral Water, Rolanda McQueen, says Montpure is determined to meet the demands of the local market as well as the new markets.
But we are working hard. We are asking for people that has the food certificate in the Grenville area. If we're looking to employ a few people part-time, so they can call the office. It's an effort that everyone in Grenada has to make, because they are in a very bad, tight situation. So we need to be producing more because, before the water companies here was only producing for Grenada. Now we are producing for St. Vincent. We've got the water there, but we need the manpower. And I think it's an opportunity that we have now where there have been people that has been out of work for a very long time, especially in the hotel industry that already have the health or the food certificate. So we can take them straight in to help working with us.
Responding to concerns over volcanic ashfall in Grenada compromising the quality of Montpure water, McQueen assured that no contamination can take place due to the nature of the plant.
People are worrying about the ash coming over. Montpure water is in an aquifer. So the ash, it will not be affected by the ash. It will not get polluted. Our water are covered. It is safe. Even if all the ash fall here, our water is protected. So they don't have to worry. Our Montpure source is secure. We are very lucky and we don't worry about it.
The CEO encouraged locals to refrain from what she refers to as panic buying, since the request was made for water from St. Vincent.
I don't want people to panic buy. It's a long term. This is our sister. So we're going to always be there for St. Vincent. It's something long term. It's not for this week. St. Vincent can rely on us for a long time. So people, what we are seeing is a lot of panic buying.
For GBN News, Beverly Tallisford.
While many Grenadians have been keeping up to date with St. Vincent's La Soufrière volcano, many have not considered the effects that this event will have on food security in Grenada. According to Grenada's representative from the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, Grenadians may soon experience a shortage of crops. Trelana Charles has the details.
The relationship between Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines goes back many years, with Grenada providing a market for the export of crops such as banana and yam from the neighboring island. However, as the La Soufrière volcano continues to erupt and cover St. Vincent in ash and volcanic matter, the availability of goods for export to Grenada is now at a standstill as the island focuses on its own problems. Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute representative to Grenada, Reginald Andal, made the point on GBN's Good Morning Grenada program. He said Grenada's food supply can expect to be negatively impacted by the volcano.
The negative impact in St. Vincent is going to be felt in Grenada because we have that weekly shipment of coconuts and potatoes and yams and so on from St. Vincent coming into Grenada. So that will be curtailed for a while. So that's a negative effect of that.
Speaking of the possible advantages of the situation, Andal said this may spark self-reliance in Grenadians and lead to the production and consumption of locally grown foods.
The effect is to make our local population realize that we have to be self-dependent to a much greater degree and plant more for our own local food. And not just plant more, but consume more of our own local food, because we have quite a large amount of local food which we don't really consume that much. For example, root crops like cassava, we have a lot of cassava which is consumed in very small amounts. So we want our population to consume much more of our local foods. And so the negative impact of not having some of those things coming out of St. Vincent right now will also create a positive effect on our people in Grenada, as we realize, well, hey, we need to do more in terms of producing what we can use and also consuming what we do produce.
As the volcano continues to erupt and Grenada experiences light ashfall, he assured farmers and consumers that crops, once washed thoroughly, are safe for consumption.
We really do not have much of a problem because the ashfall is very, very light. And so we're much better off than St. Vincent, of course, and also Barbados. Nevertheless, the basic principle is to wash off all the ash from your leafy vegetables and your fruits before cooking. Give them a thorough washing. Make sure you get all the ash off before cooking, because one doesn't want to consume any of those ashes.
Trelana Charles, GBN News.
Citing a number of issues, Education Minister Emmeline Pear announced the full resumption of school for the Trinity term, relaxing some rules under the COVID-19 protocol to accommodate all students. Details in this report.
The Ministry of Health states that a number of issues have been observed during the period that students have been out of schools due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Education Minister Emmeline Pear says one such issue reported is suicidal thoughts among some of the nation's students. Addressing the weekly post-cabinet briefing on Tuesday, she said children are placed at extreme risks the longer school remains closed. The Education Minister strikes the balance that students need in order to function at their best. They too are affected psychologically by the pandemic.
And so it means that everything that everyone can do at this stage is extremely critical to ensure that our students have access to face-to-face learning, and they have that consistently, and that we do everything to catch up the best way we can. In addition to that, the emotional support, not just from our counselors in the schools, but I want to encourage our churches, our parents, persons in communities. Do not go on the belief that children are okay and that only adults are affected by this pandemic. So we do have reports
The 6-feet distancing is still applicable for schools with the spacing to accommodate such. Schools that do not have spacing are allowed to accommodate all students based on the school's readiness. However, principals will have to make the determination. All other protocols remain in effect, such as the wearing of masks and regular hand washing or sanitizing. Not all schools returned to normal operations on Monday. Minister Pierce says this was the case as some schools are at the wind-up stage of construction.
The Ministry of Health indicating that we can proceed to accommodate all students, we felt that we needed to give persons notice of that where schools were not ready or prepared physically and otherwise for that full reopening. And so all principals were notified that if they were ready, meaning all of the logistical arrangements were in place, and all of their stakeholders were notified that they could have proceeded. And so we had about 70 plus schools that opened to full capacity on Monday. The others are working out all of the logistics during this week, and parents will be so notified.
There are presently 3 active imported COVID-19 cases in Grenada, all in self-isolation. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles explained that the present situation re COVID-19 is that there is no evidence of community spread of the virus or any cluster under investigation. In this vein, the Ministry of Health gives its full support to the reopening of schools. Christelina John, GBN News.
All CSEC exams will be done electronically this year, except in 2 subject areas. COVID-19 has displaced students across the state of Grenada, leaving them at a disadvantage, especially 5th form students who will sit the CSEC and CAPE examinations this year.
Last year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the sitting of all examinations were impacted, leaving the Caribbean Examinations Council with no choice than to have a modified version of the exams, the multiple choice or paper 1 component of the exams as the only option for grading. Education Minister Emmeline Pierre on Tuesday says this is another first.
That as it relates to the CSEC examination, this year we are going to be doing paper 1 electronically. And the good news is that we are going to be doing far more than we did pre-COVID in that regard, meaning that only math and English will not be done electronically this year. It is a first for Grenada, and this, in my opinion, is commendable, the fact that we are in a crisis. Last year, we were not able to do any of the exams electronically.
CSEC and CAPE exams are set to begin in 1 month's time. Citing the challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic on the education system, more so on students preparing for exams, students were given the option to defer the sitting of their CSEC and CAPE exams until 2022 if they believe they are not ready for the exams this year. However, during Tuesday's media briefing, the Education Minister says they have not in that regard.
Locally with our principals here, the feeling was that the students in Grenada will be reasonably ready for the exam, and there was no need to have any mass deferrals of examination. Now, we have said to students here, we cannot tell you, or parents, we cannot tell you, you cannot defer because the option is available. However, what we have said is that our policy decision on deferral is that we cannot guarantee every child who chooses or every parent who decides for their child that they're not going to sit the exam this year, that they would automatically be able to return to Form 5 next year. We do not have the space.
As for primary school students preparing to sit the CPA exams, the minister says they will not be doing so online. The option has been taken into consideration for the past 2 years. However, she believes more training ought to be done.
Interestingly, this year we were going to, for the first time, be able to have our primary school students do their exam electronically for the very first time. And we took a policy decision not to proceed, even if we have all the resources available to be able to do that. The decision was taken not to, because we felt that our primary school students needed a lot more practice to use the devices, the keyboard, and so on and so forth. And so we will be ready for next year exam because we are going to be expanding our IT program at the primary school level beginning this term.
Christina John, GBN News.
Wednesday, April 14th, 2021 will mark 42 years since the establishment of official diplomatic relations between Grenada and the Republic of Cuba. This was augmented with the establishment of diplomatic embassies with resident ambassadors in Havana and St. George's. Under the technical cooperation agreement between both countries, both Grenada and Cuba have enjoyed close relations that have been mutually beneficial. Grenada expressed gratitude to Cuba for its dedication and sacrifices over the years, especially towards the health and education sectors, by providing countless doctors, nurses, teachers, engineers, and architects. Cuba has also provided numerous scholarships from which many Grenadians have benefited and which have contributed to the country's development in various areas, including medicine, engineering, and other educational fields. The challenges of adequate hot water for the daily operations of the Dorothy Hopkins Home for the Disabled are no more, as the Rotary Club of Grenada has come to the rescue. The previous system was not sufficient to provide hot water throughout the building to facilitate the needs of the home. Let's get more in this report.
The Dorothy Hopkins Home is now fully equipped with hot water facilities via the efforts of the Rotary Club of Bonaby in collaboration with the Rotary Club of Grenada. President of the Rotary Club of Grenada, Henry Joseph, says around $40,000 was spent on installing solar water heaters to ensure the home has full access to hot water.
I hope that you would have many years of use, and that not only the members of the people who reside here, but also the staff, would appreciate it.
Trinella Frank Purcell, manager of the Dorothy Hopkins Home, says they are appreciative of the donation of solar water heater systems, which makes the lives of residents and workers easier.
I must say that with the problem that would have existed, it was very hard. Some days we had to make do, and some days, even when it came to the bathing of the residents, we had to hot water, as we Grenadians say in our colloquial terms, to actually bathe the residents, especially on the mornings when, during the Christmas time, when you have the outside is cold, we would have to hot the water because, of course, the one system which we had in place was not sufficient to ensure that everyone had the decent supply of hot water, whether it be in the laundry, in the bathroom, in the kitchen.
President-elect of the Rotary Club, Alphonsus Daniel, was instrumental in recognizing the need of hot water usage at the Dorothy Hopkins Home. Daniel also served as the contractor for the project.
I just want to say that this project is not anything strange that we at Rotary do. We just continue in the whole ideals of Rotary, which started in 1905 by our founder, Paul Harris, who decided to get together and do something for the world. As a matter of fact, they started, and the main project was doing a public washroom in Chicago. 3 professionals getting together and say, hey, let's rotate, let's meet every week in a different office, hence the word Rotary, and let's do something for humanity, giving back something.
He says what caught his attention was the lack of quality of work being done at the facility by previous contractors. I am Gerald Joseph for GBN News.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, Daisy.
Yeah.
Boy, line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex, or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Do you know what time it is? You guessed right, it's detox time again at Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center and Natural Health Store. Purchase our 7-day cleansing pack for only $500. Includes everything you need for a complete total body cleanse. Cleanse your blood, kidney, liver, and colon. This cleanse will help you lighten up and get rid of the excess. Also available are our special product Detox Combo Pack for only $100. Try our single detox products starting from $40. Check us out now. Belmont St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area, or call us on 231-6642, 449-7753, or 418-7115. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. Detox, your way to health.
Bruv. Hello? I can't see you.
What's good?
But I can't even hear you.
Yo.
Hello? Hello? Ah.
Okay, I see you. I'm good. I'm coming in.
Ah. There you are.
Live the experience right now. Enjoy high-quality video calling today. Stream, upload, and share with Digicel super fast LTE network. Visit our stores today and live the experience today. Digicel.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100-pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going.
Welcome on your blood hot so bad now. My God. A man tried to sell me. I went down here to do something. A man tried to deal me.
Not this thing, man.
Yeah, the man tried to deal me.
Who property you come out in?
No, it's not that. I had to go and do something. So, what? Somebody asked me to go and drop something for it. So when I go, I see the man, and I know the man tried to sell me. He want to take me soul.
He damn good.
Should I sell you?
Good. You know that man does deal?
No, man. Watch. I know the man does deal, but what I say is, where Wendy? I expect the man try to do that.
My partner, you want to go and see your light burning.
No. The man try to deal me. She want to take me soul. But folks, let me tell you something. This Friday we culture, I will tell all you who tried to sell me and what they tried to sell me for. So make sure and join us Friday on We Culture. All you careful. You are real dealers in the place.
They should have sold you. I don't know why you're here though. You should have been sold for real.
14.
A little more Shango. Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance on the maple.
Hey folks, you're invited to tune in to Grenada Music to the World program, hosted by Eugene Giddens on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9, Hot FM 98.5, 98.7, GBN TV, and all their social media platforms. The only totally local music program in Grenada, representing all genres of music. So it's Green's Music to the World on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on GBN with the music icon himself, Mr. Eugene Gittens. See you then.
Can you spend wisely and have more savings? Yes, you can. Learn more with Money Matters on GBN Television. The Money Matters series explores 12 top ways to save money. In this series, you would learn how to save by setting up your spending money right. Save on vehicle loans, home improvement projects, your credit cards, and even on prescription drugs. Tune in every Tuesday morning at 7:15 for Money Matters, a lighthearted conversation with financial planner Tani Francis. Follow the rebroadcast on Thursdays at 6:50 p.m. and on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Money Matters is a financial literacy public awareness program sponsored by Republic Bank Grenada.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. It is 19 minutes after 7 o'clock. Those of you just joining us, happy to have you. Those of you who stuck with us, thank you for your patience. This morning, here's what's going to take place. I am going to not rebroadcast because we didn't bring it. So I'm going to broadcast an excerpt of a live virtual forum held last evening in relation to the continued eruption at the La Soufre volcano. The UE Seismic Research Center has been holding daily briefings and daily information sharing forums, and the most recent of which happened last night started before the last eruption was recorded at 11 p.m. And the excerpt I'm going to play would mainly feature geologist at the UE Seismic Research Center, Professor Richard Robertson, and he is one of the individuals that have been sharing a wealth of information on La Soufre and volcanic activity and so on. So we're going to share just an excerpt of last night. It's an update on some of the latest developments at the volcano. All right, so let's go to that excerpt.
The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines declared a state of emergency on Thursday, April 8th, and gave an evacuation order for persons living in the red zone. The La Soufre volcano erupted explosively on Friday, April 9th, 2021, and several other explosive eruptions have followed since. The University of the West Indies has activated its relief response to the eruption under the theme Rally Round SVG. This evening's program looks at the UWI's response. Good evening. I am your host, Cleveland Sam. Welcome to Rally Round SVG, a program produced by the University of the West Indies and brought to you on UE TV. I have 4 special guests this evening who are going to take you through the UWI's response. Let me first introduce Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies. Professor Beckles, welcome.
Be here. Great pleasure.
Luz Longsworth, Pro Vice Chancellor, Global Affairs and Principal of the UWI Open Campus. Dr. Longsworth.
Good evening, and it's good to be with everyone this evening.
All All right. Professor Richie Robertson, lead geologist, the UWI Seismic Research Center. Professor Robertson, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here and to be participating in this activity, which is extremely important.
Thank you. And finally, Dr. Francis Severin, and he's the Deputy Principal of the UWI Open Campus and also co-chairs the Open Campus's Emergency Management Team. Professor Beckles, I'm going to start with you as the Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies. Can you contextualize for us the UWI's response to the eruption of the Soufriere volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
I certainly can, and if you tell me how much time I have, I will exercise prudence. Give me a sense of
I'm going to give you 3 to 5 minutes, Professor.
There you go. Well, thank you very much. Well, first of all, I should begin by saying what a tremendous honor and pleasure it is to be on this panel with my colleagues and under your chairmanship, sir. But to be with my colleagues, principals, deputy principals, and of course, our Professor Robertson, who is on the ground there in St. Vincent. Let me say this. You know, we are a public university. We are the Caribbean's premier public university, and we are here to serve. And we are not a for-profit university, though everyone knows that we must manage our affairs in a business-like fashion, but we're not here to deal with the bottom line. We're here to deal with the protection of the people of the Caribbean. And public universities are designed to serve their communities in multiple ways. Our task is to see all the areas of vulnerability and work to strengthen them, see all the areas where certain strengths exist and how to sustain those strengths. So we are here in service. We are a service university. We are not here to serve ourselves. We are here to serve the people of the Caribbean. And this is an area of service that is absolutely critical to the existential reality in the Caribbean. So yes, this university took it upon itself to respond to that mandate, to be seen to be always activists. And in our current strategic plan, we have as a concept building the activist university. What are all the big challenges facing the Caribbean people? We are going to be active in those issues. The climate change issues, the volcano issues, the issues around chronic diseases, the issues around COVID-19, public health, and all the areas of concern and threat to the people of the Caribbean. The UWI will develop and deploy its specialist skills in those circumstances to help to alleviate, to strengthen, and to protect. This is what we are here to do. And I'm so excited, so pleased that our Seismic Research Center that has been out there in the field for many, many, many decades, building up this expertise at the moment represented by Prof. Robertson and his team in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that they were deployed there since December 2020, when the sound and the rumbling began to take place, and they were deployed there to make sure that the government had the best possible global expertise available to it. And when Prime Minister Gonzalez said to me 3 days ago, he said, what would we have done without the presence of UWI's expertise? And he gave praise, he thanked us all for being there by the side of his nation. And I had the pleasure of saying to him, this is what we are here for. And much the same way we're helping all the governments of the Caribbean and managing the COVID-19 pandemic, the medical faculty, UWI science, UWI medicine. Well, UWI science is here on the frontier, out there helping our people, our community with the best expert knowledge available in the world. We know this volcano. Professor Robertson, he knows this volcano as if it was his child. He knows it. He's been dealing with it. He has that cutting edge understanding, and everything he has said so far has come to be. And I'm happy to know that the government is of the opinion that the provision of accurate, dependable science coming out of the UV Seismic Center has helped them to go forward in managing this process. So that, my friend, is the context and some of the content of UV, the activist university, in an area of national need, of regional need, and we are there to do what we are supposed to do.
Thank you so much, Professor Beckles. And indeed, Professor Robertson, you know this volcano. In fact, today is 42 years to the day, April 13th, 1979, when the La Soufrière volcano erupted. My understanding, Professor Robertson, is that you were actually involved in those efforts. Now, how has that experience influenced where you are today?
Well, you can say that the 1979 eruption of La Soufrière is what created the career path and the life I have left to a large extent. In 1979, I was in sixth form and actually was doing arts rather than sciences, and the eruption happened. And the eruption had such an impact on, I guess, on my young psyche that I decided that you needed to have Vincentians who were knowledgeable about this system to be able to manage it. And you need to have people in the region who were sufficiently experienced and knowledgeable to deal with it. And that is what set me on the path. So it's amazing. I never expected that in my lifetime I would be in this position. So it's amazing to be here. So that's why, I'm part of a large team of scientists from the Seismic Research Center who's been providing advice and support to the government. I'm glad that so far we've to a large extent gotten it right. It's very uncertain, the systems that we're dealing with. So it's a challenge, it's difficult, but we are cognizant of the fact that no matter how difficult it is for us, I think it's even more difficult for the people who have to deal with it. Volcanoes are amazing things, but they cause destruction and damage. Even though the process of volcanism is how life and land and the territories we occupy, the beautiful countries in the Caribbean were created. So even though they destroy, they also build up. But in their destruction, people have to deal with them, and therefore the impact is tremendous, and that's the case in St. Vincent. So while I'm, as a scientist, glad, and as a person, as an individual, glad that I'm able to provide support, I'm aware also of the tremendous damage and destruction it has done and it could do. It's not finished yet. I'm glad of the chance that the contribution that we could make and Seismic could make in making a difference.
Awesome, and we just saw some imagery from the eruption today, in fact, a time-elapse video. And I mean, can you describe what happened first, Professor Robertson?
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess, as I said, this volcano has, it's the volcano that I spent a lot of my life studying, and it continued to amaze us in the sense that it has taken a part in this eruption that, because we had instruments on the ground, we had put in on that monitoring system, and we happen to have a set of people here on the ground who have significant experience in understanding seismic signals, particularly from volcanoes and how volcanoes erupt, that they were able to detect and understand what was happening. But in doing that, the volcano actually has operated so far in a very classic way in terms of the signals it has put out indicating what it's doing. I don't think I would have believed that on the 13th of April, it would repeat almost exactly what it did on the 13th of April, 1979. In other words, not only has it erupted today, around the same time it did on the 13th, 42 years ago, but the kind of eruption it had today, this specific kind, what's called a volcanic explosion, is very much like what it did on the 13th of April in 1979. And what that means is that essentially gas-rich magma, which is the material that comes from beneath the surface of the earth, and which between 27th December up until early April was oozing out, this gas-rich magma obtained sufficient energy, and the conditions were such that early this morning, it essentially exploded, and it pushed a lot of fragments of rock into the atmosphere. And those fragments of rock, You see the billowing clouds, they have a lot of gas in it and they rose. But in addition to rising up, they actually also collapse on themselves, and they produce these density currents that went down the mountainside. And we were able to, from the observatory, see them and observe them. So, it's almost given us, this volcano, even though as it destroys St. Vincent, unfortunately, it's given us a lesson in volcano seismology, because the signals it's producing, once you know what you're looking for, once you have the experience, it's doing exactly what the signals tell us it wants to do. And that's why we've been able to track it and determine what it's doing, and actually to provide the advice that the government needed to take the action it needed. So it's extremely interesting scientifically, but it's also very interesting personally, because it's sort of, you couldn't ask for a more classic eruption to manage as a scientist and provide advice. And so we're very glad that it's, to a large extent, it's not behaving well because it's erupting, but to a large extent, the way in which it's erupting, once you know what you're looking for, you could track it and you could follow it. And so far, it's been doing that. So we're thankful that it's operating like that, so we can manage it properly.
Interesting stuff. It's almost predictable, you're saying.
Well, we can't predict eruptions, but it allows us to provide fairly well-constrained forecasts of what it's likely to do.
Right. All right. I want to bring in Dr. Luz Longsworth, who is the principal of the UWI Open Campus, also with responsibility for global affairs for the entire university, Pro-Vice Chancellor Global Affairs. Dr. Longsworth, as I said in my intro, the UWI immediately activated its relief response. Can you speak to what UWI has been doing thus far for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Dr. Salmon. And first, let me just express on behalf of all of my colleague principals and the senior management team our deepest concern for and our solidarity with the people and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as we go through this very difficult time of coping with the eruptions from La Soufrière. Be assured, as always, as the Vice Chancellor has already said, that the University of the West Indies is committed to supporting all of our countries through these difficult times, and indeed we have done so over the years. The UWI has worked hand in glove with all of our countries during times of disasters, and our immediate response is in line with what is recommended, which is to look after the people and to ensure that lives are safe and that people are out of harm's way. So, of course, we are particularly focused on ensuring that we can support the persons who have had to be evacuated, and our university has mobilized its entire community, our students, our staff, and the countries that we serve to support in multiple ways. This is the first phase of our support always, and it's no different in the case of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, except, of course, that while we are very used to having hurricanes, we have not had many volcanic eruptions that are so unpredictable, although Professor Robertson is doing a very good job in warning us, but we're not sure when this event will really end. So our support has to be guided by the science and the advice that we're getting from Professor Robertson and his team as to what is necessary. And we have our UWI Open Campus site that's on the ground there, that's led by Mrs. Deborah Dalrymple, and that's an enormous advantage because we get up-to-date information. In fact, we knew when the first eruption happened, just as it happened. So we're very able to respond in an agile way.
All right. And speaking of the UWI Open Campus Countryside on the ground, with us is also Dr. Francis Severin, former director of the Open Campus Countrysides, now Deputy Principal of the campus. Dr. Severin, you also chair the Open Campus Emergency Response Team. What has the team been up to in terms of responding to St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
Yes, a very pleasant good evening, warm good evening to each and every one of you here on the panel, this August panel, and special good evening and good night to our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is a pleasure to be on this panel. And in fact, as I listened to Professor Robertson, I couldn't help but ponder and ruminate over, the strategic plan of the University of the West Indies 2017-2022, where the Vice Chancellor says in his preface, fine universities are not established and funded to serve themselves, but to commit to engage the challenges facing their host communities. And I mean, even at that time, how could one appreciate the extent to which that statement would be authentic and legitimate? And that is why I feel so much joy in being part of this great institution that really serves our people in a very practical way, where STEAM comes together: science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics. And I was very interested when Professor Richardson said that he started off as an arts student, and this is very important. But our science and arts and humanities have come together, have really, in a sense, conjoined in order to serve us. And yes, I am the co-chair of our emergency management team. It seems to me that the University of the West Indies Open Campus in particular, given the fact that it's so distributed around the region, it seems to me that given our hurricanes, given our, now volcano, we have tropical waves to deal with, tropical storms, floods, all manner of natural hazards. It is becoming more the norm rather than the exception. So we are in that mold, I have to say, Dr. Sam. And yes, on April 9th, Friday last week, of course, as soon as the eruption, the major eruption occurred, I convened a meeting with selected members of the Open Campus leadership team in order to gain a sense of our state of preparedness and, of course, to activate those plans. And the first thing that we actually did, and through our CFO, was to open up and set up 2 accounts. And the information of these accounts are actually provided, I think, through press releases and so on. But suffice it to say that one Eastern Caribbean account set up in Antigua at CIBC First Caribbean, it's a disaster relief account, and another US account set up temporarily for the disaster relief in the Cayman Islands. And so our diaspora, people far and wide, can donate to that account. An email address was immediately so that people and those who intended to give donations could actually, seek, clarification, ask questions, and make queries, and find out all they perhaps may want to know in terms of provision of donations. And that is sent.vincent.recovery@open.ue.edu. And that is really monitored by a staff member, Mrs. Janella Samuel Austin, in my office as Office of Deputy Principal. And so she will be able to redirect, queries and inquiries as they occur. We, of course, as is our wont, we think of our students at all the time. We really always focus on our students. They're the ones first, and they're our raison d'etre. And we have 572 or thereabouts students in Senate-approved online programs in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we have taken several steps to ensure that no violence, so to speak, or injury is done to their advancement. And I can give you an example, and I should say to you that we have always had a disaster preparedness and hazard management protocol in place, which our students are aware of and which they can find on the portal and which they can read at all times. But specifically in this case, given the fact that the communications infrastructure had not been affected, email messages have been sent to individual students, adjunct staff, and all semester 2 teaching staff to alert them of the situation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that courtesies for extension of assignments and due date will be in effect. And that is, of course, with no penalty applied. We have done that in other disasters as well, including COVID. And this has been communicated to the students, to affected students. Disaster preparedness and hazard management protocol is also posted in the student portal, as I've said, and a similar notice is also posted to the tutor-student exchange, so that the tutors are aware of the information that the staff, or the students, are receiving, so that there is mutual intelligibility. The tutors know what is happening with our students. And as I reflect on that, I want to really commend our team in the Academic Programming and Delivery Division, led by our director, Dr. Denise Gaspard-Richards, for the hard work that they are doing behind the scenes. And that's very important in keeping the machinery for students, well-oiled and continuing. The Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Protocol is shared with the St. Vincent and the Grenadines head, whom you heard our principal spoke of earlier on, so that she can also communicate with them and in a knowledgeable fashion, so that there is consistency of communication and information. The program managers at APAD will monitor courses with affected students and staff to offer support and guidance where necessary. And if connectivity should be affected or disrupted, the Open Campus has developed a functional mobile app. And we're hoping that this doesn't happen in this case, but we have developed, and preempting anything untoward, a functional mobile app that allows students to work offline in their courses, upload assignments, and post to forums, and the content is stored and date stamped for live update when connectivity is restored. The course coordinators and course instructors have been asked to grant considerations for extensions, as I've said, to all students, but with special attention to the students in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are fully cognizant of the fact that while this is happening, the ASH effect, which is quite, unprecedented, I've never seen that in my life before, is also affecting the psyche, I have to tell you, of our students in Barbados and St. Lucia as well, because our students are a community, and what affects one affects the other. So we are cognizant and sensitive to that as well.
And that was an excerpt of a panel discussion held last evening in relation to the updates at the La Soufre volcano. The team representing the UE Seismic Research Center, we thank them so much. We're going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, we link up with Just School Media for this morning's Traffic Cam. This is Good Morning Grenada on Classic GBN Hot 98. We'll be right back.
Grenadians in New York are coming together to pay tribute to our nation's COVID-19 victims and other people who died during the pandemic. The recognition would be in the form of a service of remembrance that would be streamed live via Zoom from Our Lady of Refuge RC Church in Brooklyn on April 18th. Streaming would begin at 4 p.m. and end at 5:30 p.m. under the theme Remembrance, Recognition, and Tribute. Grenadian culture will be showcased in performances from gospel artists, prominent calypsonians, and the popular cultural group Quake USA. Now, we need your support in providing us with the names of your loved ones who were lost because of COVID. Please email the names to covidmemorialgnd@gmail.com. That's covidmemorialgnd@gmail.com. Let's all remember our dear Grenadians who COVID has taken from us. Zoom in to the live stream Sunday, April 18th at 4 p.m. from Our Lady of Refuge RC Church in Brooklyn. God bless.
We now join Just School Media for this morning's traffic cam. Let's see where he's taking us this morning as he takes the streets.
Now we are approaching Andal. And still smooth flow of traffic, smooth driving. Just passing the former Carlton Home Junction, Carlton Home Corner. Okay, so now we are about to approach White Gun and we are in traffic. So we are about to approach White Gun and now we are in traffic. So now we are in traffic congestion going down to just outside after the corner where Carlton Home was. So we have traffic congestion going into White Gun to go down the Lotus Lane top roundabout. So motorists coming using the St. Paul's Road, expect traffic delay. If you can use the detour to go down into Mount Parnassus, you can. And if you're going into Grandance directly from St. Paul's, you can pass through Laborie, go up Manjaloo, pass through Defu, and you can pass through Dixie and come down Gulf Coast and you will reach into Grandance instead of coming down Lotus Lane. If you're going Grandance direct, you can make a detour by passing through Laborie, Manjaloo, Defu, Dixie, Chinangle, and then you can come out in Grandance either by Gulf Coast or you can come down right in front of the Grandance Post Office. But at the moment, we are in traffic going down to White Gun. A lot of traffic. Not so sure if I'll reach in town on time because of all this traffic. Is there anything that could be done to alleviate this traffic congestion in the morning? To avoid traffic congestion, we as motorists, we need to plan early. Plan our routes early. In order for us to reach to work on time, we need to plan early, leave home at a specific time, to give into consideration for traffic delays so that we can reach to work and school on time. So it's good to give at least in our moving at least 45 minutes to an hour for time in traffic, especially between 7:45 and 8:45. Give yourself at least an hour
that it will take you to be in traffic before you reach your final destination. So you can plan ahead so that you can arrive late to avoid rushing, road rage, and accidents. So we are in traffic just outside of White Gun, and the traffic build-up could be all the way past Andal Supermarket now. The build-up in traffic getting into the Lotus Lane top roundabout, either to go down Maras Hill, to go down Lotus Lane, or to go down Lucas Street. It's Wednesday. It's a beautiful Wednesday as the sun tried to burst through the clouds. Tried to burst through the clouds and the ash that's in the atmosphere. Also, we may have some Sahara dust as well. So we're in traffic trying to reach in Tongue for 8 a.m. I have 8 minutes from White Gun. Let me see how long it will take me to get into the Tongue of St. George. I would like to urge all motorists as well for proper disposal of garbage in your vehicle. Do not allow passengers or you yourself just to throw garbage out of the vehicle while it's moving. So now when you pass along the road and you're walking and you watch alongside the road to see the amount of garbage, bottles, cans, plastic bags that are on the side of our nation roads. That's because of improper garbage disposal by people walking in the road or also by people driving. So please ensure, as a driver, that no one throws garbage out of your moving vehicle, that is disposed of properly, because we need to keep our nations clean. And as motorists, we have a responsibility. As passengers, we have a responsibility to keep our country clean. So we are in slow-moving traffic just outside of White Gun, heading into St. George's. Those of you who have to on GBN TV who has to change programming, thank you for viewing. Have yourselves a wonderful week, and the rest of you stay with me because we're going into the Tongue of St. George.
Junior is stuck in traffic making his way to the city. So those of you who are coming down the St. Paul's, Lavery, Parade, even down from Mardi Gras area, you will meet traffic, which is usually what is anticipated this time of the morning. It usually starts coming up Lucas Street, makes its way up across the roundabout, up the Parade, White Gun area. So expect traffic delays if you're heading into the city and you're using that St. Paul's main road area. Junior is stuck in it. I don't think he's getting to the city for 8, but let's hope for the best. But other than that, flowing up St. Paul's, it appears to be flowing smoothly. There's no traffic actually heading toward the St. Paul's direction. So keep that in mind as you traverse the area. It is now 5 minutes to 8. Join us every Monday and Wednesday, 7:45 a.m. for Traffic Cam, as we give you ideas of what different parts of the island look like on a busy morning. Thank you so much, Junior. And now we get ready for the BBC's 8 a.m. newscast. Just before we head on out, want to remind you of assistance being sought or relief being sought for our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent. Numerous relief efforts are being being spearheaded, different organizations, different individuals. So feel free to reach out to whatever organization you feel comfortable with to provide that assistance, including financially as well as water. Water is of most urgent need, as well as hygiene kits, tinned stuff, whatever assistance you can provide, it would be greatly appreciated. This morning in the morning edition of News on Radio, I read an item in relation to leaders in the East OECS concerned or issuing a warning of fake, should I call it fake? Yes, a fake GoFundMe account that has been set up purporting to be for relief efforts for St. Vincent. According to the leaders, the GoFundMe account was not sanctioned or approved or set up by the St. Vincent government. So they were just issuing a warning to be careful and cautious with what kind of assistance you provide with the GoFundMe page. It could be somebody doing, a good deed and raising the funds, but as of when I read the item this morning, the leaders or St. Vincent authorities were unaware of its establishment and who's running it and so on. So it's just to issue a warning to be careful and cautious with the relief and contributions that you make. Ensure that you double check who it is. And ensure that it is a reputable organization, a well-known organization when you are providing that assistance. Now let's get ready to join the BBC for the 8 a.m. newscast. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Coming up at 9, we host Minister of Education Emmeline Pear on this morning's To The Point. That's at 9 a.m. So be sure to join me. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.